Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about this AI agent that does YouTube market analysis and is a great tool for content creators. You can chat with it and ask about any YouTube channel, and it's going to go out and collect that channel's videos and add them to a spreadsheet. Now the spreadsheet is pretty cool on its own. You can sort by view count, upload date, but then you can go back to the AI agent and ask specific questions about this data, like out of the last 20 videos, which videos performed the best. You can ask like, what was the average view duration of these videos, stuff like that. You can even add multiple channels to the list and then compare the channels using the chatbot. So it's a great way to do market analysis. And if this is interesting to you, then I'm going to structure this video into 3 parts. The first will be a demo of the actual agent so you can see how it works. The second will be a high-level overview of the different pieces that make up this agent. And 3, we'll do an in-depth walkthrough. Step by step, I'll show you how to set up each node. All right, so let's do a demo now. So I'll pull up the chat in NAN and ask, hey, can you research Outdoor Boys? And the agent is thinking, it's finding the channel info. It's going back to the chat model with that information, and it's going to go into the rows in the sheets and figure out that there's no rows yet for Outdoor Boys. So it'll go back to the chat model, and then it'll decide to get the channel data. And after about a minute of searching, it finished up and it gave us a response that says this channel features a wide range of videos focused on outdoor activities such as camping, which is correct. And if we go to the sheets, we can see that all the videos are uploaded. So in the sheet, you could do all types of analysis like filtering by long form versus short form videos, sorting the upload date, sorting the view count, kind of seeing what videos perform the best. But if you want to ask more specific questions, you could say like, out of the last 20 videos, which ones perform the best? And it's gonna it's gonna find the channel info, then it's gonna see if that channel info exists in the sheets, which it does. It's gonna take that info and send it back to the model. The model will give us a good response. It'll give us the video ID, the title, and show us the view count. Now we can ask even more specific questions about this subset of videos, like what's the average duration? The average duration of the top 5 best performing videos is approximately 22 minutes and 4 seconds. Okay guys, now we're gonna zoom out and do a high level overview of the workflow. So we have the chat and we have the AI agent. Anytime you send a chat, it's gonna be sent to the agent, and the agent has access to 3 different tools. The first is get channel info, the second is get channel data, and the third is get data from sheet. Now this first one is responsible for taking the YouTuber name from the chatbot and outputting the YouTuber handle and channel ID. So it's going to communicate with YouTube and get all that info. Then the next step is get channel data, and this is responsible for taking the channel ID from this step and outputting nothing, because all it's assigned to do is go to YouTube, get all the videos, and then upload them to the sheet. The next step and the last one is get data from sheet. This one takes the input YouTube handle and outputs the YouTuber data. Okay, so the way it'll flow is like this. You'll send a chat about the Outdoor Boys, and the agent will figure out that you're talking about the Outdoor Boys. So it'll send that name to the get channel info tool and output the YouTuber handle and the channel ID, right? So it takes the YouTuber handle and sends it to the get data from sheet tool to figure out if there is any data on this YouTuber yet. And if there is not, then it's going to use the get channel data tool to get all the channel videos and send them to the Google Sheet. Once that's done, it'll go back to this tool, get all the YouTuber channel data, and then process that data and give you an answer based on your question. And if you ask the agent again about the same YouTuber, it's going to skip the get channel data step and just get the data directly from the sheet. Now you might be thinking, why even have the get data from sheet step if we can just get the channel data every time we ask a question about a YouTuber? Well, this is a big optimization, because if you wanted to get the channel data every time you asked a question, then it would probably take a minute or 2 for your question to be answered, because this takes a long time depending on how many YouTube videos the YouTuber has. Now, if we store it in the sheet that access the database, we can get that data instantly. And not only that, but if you go to the sheet, I think this looks pretty cool, and you can go through here and sort things on your own and do manual market analysis. All right, now that we've gone over all of that, we can start building the agents now. So we'll start off with the get channel info tool. So create a new workflow and name it get channel info. And then click this add first step here, and you're going to choose the when executed by another workflow step. Now we're going to define the fields here. The field is going to be channel query, and the type is going to be string. We'll execute this, and you can see here that the output is structured in JSON. So we'll add this empty string here, and within the empty string, we will say Outdoor Boys. This will just make it easier to test our workflow without having to trigger it from another workflow. So save that. Since we use this when executed by another workflow trigger, our agent is going to be able to call this workflow. So we can add the next step here. It's called HTTP request. So click the plus and type in HTTP request and make it a GET request, and then do https://youtube.com/results. Okay, then send query params, and the name will be search query, and the value will be the channel query coming from our when executed by another workflow step. So this will send an HTTP request to the YouTube results page with the search query Outdoor Boys. So this is the same as going to YouTube and searching in the search bar Outdoor Boys. And this node will capture the HTML that's used to make up that web page. So for example, if I execute this step, you see we get a bunch of HTML here. And within this HTML somewhere is the actual channel that we're looking for, Outdoor Boys, and it's going to contain the handle and the channel ID within that HTML. So we need to find a way to parse through this HTML and capture that handle and channel ID so we can return it from this workflow. But before we do that, I just want to explain something real quick. When we drag this channel query into this value field here, that made this field a variable field. So it's based on the input coming into this node. So it's not going to be Outdoor Boys every time. It's going to be whatever the input is from the parent workflow. Okay, now let's exit out of this and add another node, a code node, so that we can write some code that will parse through the HTML coming in here and give us our channel ID and handle. So I don't know if you know this, but I've been a software engineer for like 5 years now, and I could go ahead and write some JavaScript myself because I work with JavaScript like every day, but that'll take time, and I'd rather just ask ChatGPT because ChatGPT is great for simple little code snippets like this. So, you know, when I first tried it, I copy and pasted this whole HTML into ChatGPT, but that caused an error because it's too much HTML. So what I did is I did Control F and searched for Outdoor Boys, and well, I actually searched for channel ID, and so that brings me to the part of the code or the part of the HTML that has the channel ID we're looking for. And so I just copied this snippet of the HTML, a bunch of it around this part. And I copied it and pasted that in the ChatGPT, and I asked it, hey, can you write me a code block that will parse through this HTML? And I'll copy and paste that here now. And here it is. So I'll go over it really quick. So the first line is the HTML we're grabbing from the input, and the next few lines are defining regular expressions. And then after that, we're looping through the HTML and trying to match substrings based on these regular expressions. So we're looking for channel IDs and the base URL. And from that, we're getting channel ID, a list of channel IDs and a list of handles. And then we initialize a results array and loop through each of the channel IDs and handles, and then push a new object with the channel ID and handle to the results array. And we're returning this as JSON. This is stuff you don't truly need to understand. You can kind of just ask ChatGPT for certain snippets like this. And when I first asked ChatGPT, it didn't actually give me this code here. I kind of had to ask it a few more times to update some things, but I eventually got this and it worked. So that's what I recommend you do, or you can just go to the description and copy and paste this because I'll leave it there. So if we execute this step, we have our channel ID and handle. I actually want to remove this slash from the beginning of the handle. So like I said, I went to ChatGPT and just asked it to update the code, and it told me to add this piece right here. So I'll do that and we'll execute this again. And there we go, the slash is gone. Okay guys, this tool should be done. Let's execute it one more time. And there we go, we have our handle and channel ID output from this tool. So now we can go to the next tool, which will be getting the actual channel data. So we'll name this get channel data. And what I mean by data is the videos from that channel. So the first step will be the same as the last one when executed by another workflow. And the input will be a channel ID. Okay. And we will execute that. And we want to put a placeholder here. So let's go back to our other workflow, execute it, and just grab this Outdoor Boys channel ID so we can use this as the data placeholder. Edit this and add a string like that. And save that. And also add another field for handle and make that a string. And then execute, unpin and test. and then put your channel ID back in there. And then for the handle, just do Outdoor Boys. Okay, and then save that. And then we can add our next step here, which is going to be the YouTube get channel. So get a channel. So to use this step, we'll need to create a credential to connect with. So click create new credential. And if you don't already have your client ID and client secret from the Google Cloud, then I'll link a video here where I go over how to set up your Google Cloud. So once you have the client ID and client secret, come back to this video, paste in the authorization URL like that, paste in the access token URL like that, and then paste in the auth URI query parameters and change this from header to body. And then go to your Google Cloud, copy your client ID, paste it into here, and then copy your client secret, paste the client secret in, and then click save and sign in with Google. Choose the account you want, continue, and then select all the services to give them access and click continue, and connection successful. In the Google Cloud, you'll go to Enabled APIs and Services, click Enabled APIs and Services, and then search for the YouTube API. And then click on the YouTube Data API v3 and click Enable. Awesome, you'll see green and you should be good to go. Now for resource, do channel, operation get, and channel ID, drag this in from the last node. Now it's variable based on the input from the agent. And we'll execute this step. And you can see we get the Outdoor Boys channel information. So this output only contains the channel info. It doesn't actually contain the videos. So we'll need to set up our next node to get the videos. So do another YouTube node and get many videos. Okay, you can connect the same credential we just created. And for resource, do video, operation get many, return all, yes. And then for filters, you'll want to do channel ID and drag that in from the last step. Okay, and now execute the step. And it's getting all of Outdoor Boys videos. There we go. The only problem is this doesn't contain all the details we want for each video. So we're gonna have to loop through each one of these and call another YouTube node that will gather more info for each video. So go back and create another node, another YouTube one called get video. And use the same credential, resource video, operation get, and video ID can be the, you can drag and drop it from the side here, video ID. And fields, we want all the fields, and so we'll execute this. It's gonna loop through all 312 items here and grab the video details for each one. This is taking quite a long time, and I think what I do to optimize it is just use an HTTP request and then try to find an API endpoint on the YouTube API docs that captures all the video data in just one API call instead of having to make 312 API calls. But anyway, after a little bit of time, we have all our data here and it looks good. Our next step is going to be a code block so that we can parse through some of that data and change some things around. So I'm just going to copy and paste this code block in. So change this to run once for each item and then language JavaScript. And here we're returning the JSON destructured into another object. And we're just adding the type property and the duration property. And so we're deriving these values from values coming from each video data. So for example, the type is either going to be short or long form based on whether or not the title includes hashtags. I found that the titles that have hashtags in them usually are shorts, so I classify them as the type short. Then for duration, you can see in the output from the YouTube API, it's kind of hard to decipher what this means, so I parse through that duration string and create my own string from that. So if I execute this step, you can see that type was added, and this one is a short, and duration is turned from this to this. Okay, now it's about time to actually upload all of this data to the Google Sheet. So click Add New Node and type in Google Sheets and choose the append or update row in Sheet 1. And then we'll need a credential to connect with. So if you don't already have one, then click Create New Credential and just add in all of the data you see here, the OAuth redirect URL, grant type, authorization URL, access token URL, and then you can use the same client ID and client secret from the YouTube credential that we set up a little bit ago. Okay, And then you'll want to go into the Google Cloud Console and enable the YouTube API service. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick. You'll go to APIs and services, enabled APIs, search for the Google Sheets API, click it, and click enable. Okay, and once that is done, you can choose resource, sheet within document, operation, append or update row, and then we'll choose the sheet. So this assumes you already have the sheet created. If you don't, then go ahead and create a new Google Sheet. You can name it YouTube Research or whatever you want, and then find it from this list. And then for the sheet, you'll choose just whatever tab you have created in that sheet. And then you have to add all of these column headers. So ID, channel ID, link, channel handle, title, view count, duration, video type, upload date, like count, comment, and thumbnail. And pro tip, you want to highlight this row and go to view and click freeze one row. And this part's a bit tedious, but you got to do it. You have to go and drag each of these fields to their respective columns. So for ID, do the video ID, then channel ID. There we are. For link, you'll want to do https://youtube.com. Make sure there's only 2 T's. youtube.com/watch, I think, and then $V is equal to, and then the video ID. So drag and drop the video ID there. Okay, just like that. Now channel handle will be coming from our first step, this, and then .item.json.handle. And then title, you'll grab this from snippet, view count, statistics, duration will be that custom field we added. So here, then video type, same thing, it's a custom field. Upload date. So for this, we're going to want to format the date. If we just dragged it in like this, it would be formatted like that, and that's kind of hard to read. So what we'll do is a little bit of JavaScript here. We'll do date time dot from ISO. So this format here is an ISO format. So you drag that into from ISO, and then you'll do dot format, and you can do whatever format you want. In our case, we're going to do mm-dd-yyyy space h:/mm-a. There is our beautiful format. And light count, go back to statistics, drag that in. Thumbnails and snippet, and just use the max res URL. Oh, that's interesting. Outdoor Boys disabled his comments, so we can't get a comment count here because other channels will have comments, and I think it's in the statistics one. So we'll do json.statistics.comment count. I think that's right. Yeah, it's just like this. Okay, and we can click execute step. Column to match on parameters required. Oh, so go back to the top and do column to match on is ID. This will make it so if we're uploading new rows, it's going to check if that row already exists by seeing if there's any rows with this ID. So yeah, we'll execute this, and there we go. Now all the data is in here. Oh, and there's a little issue. We need to make this an expression, not fixed, so that it doesn't come out like that in the sheet. Okay, so that's going to do it for this tool. That's everything we need it to do. It gets all the videos and then uploads them to the Google Sheet. Now for the response, we're just going to do a edit fields, and then add field, and name will be response and value will be done, so that our AI agent knows that this is done. So save. Now it's time to make our actual AI agent workflow. So click create workflow. And for the first step, we'll do a chat trigger. There we go. And now we'll connect an AI agent to this chat. And for the chat model, we're going to do OpenAI. So to create a credential with OpenAI, you do create new credential, and you need an API key. So just go to openai.com, go to API platform after creating an account if you don't have one, and click on profile, API keys, create a new secret key, call it anything you want, select the project, create secret key, Now you have this key. You want to copy it and put it somewhere private. I don't think you'll be able to see the key again once you exit this modal. So definitely copy it and put it somewhere safe. Paste it in and click save. Now connection tested successfully. We're good to go. And for the model, we'll just do GPT 4.1-mini. If you're doing more intensive searches, if you're doing more intensive like data analysis, maybe bump this up to a more powerful model like 4.1 not mini. But for our purposes, we're just going to do the mini. It's the cheapest one. So yeah, for the memory, let's do a just simple memory in the context window length of like 10. That's fine. And now we'll connect all of our tools. So call NAN workflow tool, choose from this list. So the one we just created was the get channel info, or that was the first one we created was get channel info. And for channel query, we'll click this, let model define this parameter. Awesome. And then we'll add our next tool, which will be our other workflow we created, get channel data. Same thing, we'll let the model define these parameters. And now we'll add one more tool, which is a Google Sheets tool for reading from that Google Sheet. And we'll use the same credential we created earlier. Resource sheet within document, operation get rows, document, choose the YouTube research one, and choose the same tab. And then for filters, you'll want to do the channel ID and the value will be defined by the model. Okay, and that'll make it so when the model actually gets the rows from the Google Sheets, it only gets the rows associated with the channel ID you want. Okay, now we're gonna go back through these tools and give them names and descriptions. So this one will be get YouTube, get channel info, okay? And the description, I'm gonna copy and paste it into here. Call this tool to find a YouTube channel ID and handle. The input should be a YouTube search query. When our AI agent is running and trying to figure out what to do, it's gonna see it has access to these tools, and it's gonna look at the tool titles and tool descriptions to know what that tool does. So it's a good idea to leave these detailed descriptions. So our next one is going to be the get channel data. And I'll copy and paste the description again. Call this tool to get channel data and save it to Google Sheet. The input should be channel ID and handle. Now, before I forget, I'm just going to name the workflow too. And we'll name it YouTube Research Agent. Now, the last and most important thing we'll do is give the system prompt to this main AI agent. Now, this is important because this system prompt is going to be what helps the AI agent orchestrate this entire workflow and concept. So I'm going to copy and paste this. And we'll start from the top. You are a YouTube researcher. When given a person's name or other input, your first task is to find their YouTube channel's handle and channel ID using the appropriate tool. The handle should always be in this format. At handle, make sure there are no slash. We can actually remove this because we added that little thing earlier that removes the slash. Then once you have the handle, check the Google Sheet to see if a row already exists for this channel handle. So it's going to get the handle, then it's going to check the Google Sheet using the get Google Sheet rows tool. If it exists, use that row for research. Do not run the data fetching tool unless explicitly instructed. Like I said, that tool is pretty expensive to run, expensive as in it takes a lot of time. So if we don't need to run it, then we shouldn't. If it does not exist, you must use the tool to fetch the channel data and upload it to the Google Sheet. 2, wait for that process to complete. And 3, once the data is available in the sheet, proceed with researching using that row. Those rows. How about that? Important rules. Never run the tool that fetches channel data if the channel handle is already present in the sheet. Okay, so we're just reiterating there to make sure we don't run that process without reason. So I'm actually going to remove this last one, and then I'm going to change some things around because it seems like this prompt here is thinking that there's only going to be one row in the sheet per YouTuber. So we're going to change that. If they exist, we're going to change it from like single to multiple. Use those rows for research. Rows already exist for this channel handle, for this channel ID. We're going to make an ID instead of handle. Once you have the ID, the channel ID, rows do not exist. Okay, cool. I think that's good. Okay guys, everything is done. The agent is ready to be tested. So when we send a chat to it, it's going to initiate the workflow. So to open the chat, you press this little thing on the bottom right, and here's the chat. And we'll say, hey, can you research Kyle Friel, which is my name, and then Code Focus, which is my channel handle. I'm leaving as much detail as possible because my channel isn't very big, so there might be multiple results searching just like Code Focus or just Kyle Friel. Let's send that off, and the agent's thinking. It got the channel info, then it went back to the model and then got the rows. Went back to the model figured out that there were no rows, so it called the get channel data tool, and now the rows are in the sheet, and the agent is now processing the data, and now we have this response. So I found the YouTube channel for Kyle Friel with the handle Code Focus. Real quick before we read this, let's go to the sheet, and there we go. There's all the data from my channel. Pretty cool. Here are some details from recent videos on the channel. I built an AI agent to manage my Gmail. 1,600 views, 41 likes, 5 comments. And it shows us when it's uploaded and gives us a link. That's awesome. Okay, let's try out another channel. This guy named Jay Hoobie, I think he's a great guy, so we'll try his channel. Jay Hoobie, just throw it in there. It's thinking, getting the channel info, getting the rows and sheet, discovers it has none, so now it's getting the channel data. That's gonna run for a little bit because he has almost 200 videos. Okay, so the data is done fetching, and we can ask a question like which video has the highest like to view ratio. It's gonna know I'm talking about the Jay Hoobie guy because of the simple memory. It knows like what the last thing I said was. And as you can see there, it didn't get the channel data again. It actually just went and got the rows in the sheet because they already exist. So we can see the video with the highest like to view ratio on Jay Hoobie's channel is how to make money on Snapchat Spotlight. It shows the likes, the views. Okay, let's ask one more question. We'll say which videos have unusually high comment counts compared to their views. So these are pretty cool questions you wouldn't be able to kind of answer just looking at the YouTube dashboard. You have to, write it all on a sheet and figure it out yourself. But with this, you can just ask questions and it gives you these instant answers. So it's really nice. The Jay Hoobie channel data, the video title, I made $8,000 posted on Instagram. That's unusually high comment count compared to its views. It's 1,000 comments and 75,000 views. This is high comment to view ratio, indicating high engagement. If you're a content creator, you can go in here and ask about channels in your niche and figure out, what kind of content is working, what has high engagement, what doesn't, and you can make a strategy based on these answers. It's a really nice way to do market analysis. So that's going to do it for this video today. If you enjoyed this and found it helpful, then leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more AI automation content in the future. And leave a comment about what you'd like to see in the future. I'm open to suggestions. But anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you again in the next video.